Coach Q, and what are your thoughts on his passing at Harvard?
Well, I mean, obviously, he played a long time too, and he's been very good in the league. When I was in Cincinnati in the American League, and even in junior, I liked watching St. Louis, the way their backside pressure was. They played real fast. Didn't get the goaltending in the playoffs in those days, but they played real well. I liked them. We often showed our guys St. Louis clips. In 04, I think I got my first NHL win against St. Louis, against Q, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be. And then in 04, that year, I talked to him, and maybe it was 03, 04, I can't remember exactly when it was. I'd asked him if he was going to coach the World Championship staff, if I could be on that staff, and it ended up that I got to be on that staff with him. So obviously I've known him a long time, and then when things didn't work out one year in Colorado, I asked him if he wanted to come to Detroit there and fill in for a while. He probably made a pretty good decision and sat out and then went to Chicago. So it's been, pretty upside ever since. But he's a good man, a good coach, and he's in a good situation that he's got lots of talent. It was fun to watch their team play last night. They got upside skill.
What's the key to longevity in coaching? You and him both seem to have it where everyone talks about a shelf life, but your message doesn't.
Well, I don't buy any of that stuff. I just think if you work hard at your game and your craft and you reinvent yourself and you treat people right and you're demanding and yet appreciative, I think you can have a long shelf life. I really believe that. And the other thing, the key to having a long shelf life is good players. Don't ever kid yourself. Good players make the game a lot of fun. I saw some stuff last night that we don't dare try. But we will. But that's what good players do. Good players create something out of nothing within the structure of the game, and they beat the defensive structure, and you go, wow. And other players, we put it in, we forecheck, and we grind.
How many of those kind of elite players, like Chicago's got 4, like 5 guys in every cup, there's been 5 like superstar players on that team. How many guys do you need to create a cup?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question. I think when you got those real good players, it's easy to add. At the deadline you can add, and then you can move guys around, and then good players attract good players too, so you can get guys to come. The other thing about good teams is good teams, old guys who are done, can play on a good team because they don't have to be going all winter long, but they can. The fountain of youth is playoff time, and they get jacked up and they play well. So that's what happens on good teams.
How much does one superstar player affect the game on any given night?
Unbelievable. Well, because he makes the other guys play better, and you got to play with them every day. You practice them every day. You watch them. You learn a ton from them. So when I was in Detroit, I called Nickisms. So you learn by watching them, and then you build that into the structure of your game. The way Duncan Keith jumps the guy early, coming in on a rush, suddenly the next thing you know, someone's watching him. Someone else does it. The way Kaner gets ice back and then comes at you with speed, someone else watches it, and they start doing it. So good players make coaches better and other players better.
Mike, you want to take advantage of teams when they've played the night before. You had that opportunity.
And we let her go.
Yeah, and so what has to change tonight?
Well, we got to start on time. We got to be ready to go. And it was interesting. And I don't know if I'm right. I just watched the game last night. But to me, Chicago really got going in the first 10 minutes, and they had it on a string, and the game was over. Now, Montreal really came and really made, and Crawford was great, and they had the puck, and they cycled, but they didn't start on time. Now, I'm not saying they didn't. Maybe the other team just had her going too good. But if we come out and watch them instead of playing, it can get ugly fast.
How do you game plan to prepare for a team that just has not only a couple good guys, but pretty elite depth-wise?
Well, I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing it last night in the last few days. We got a plan. Now we got to execute. It's great having a plan. I like the execution of it better. So let's get on with that.
You talked about how hard it is to score in the league now. Are stars more important now that it's harder to get to the net, harder to cut through the play?
I don't know. I think stars are always important. On all the good teams, they have stars. They have enough of them. You don't need the most. You need enough. And then you need a lot of good foot soldiers with you. But the foot soldiers got an easier job because they just got to do their own job.
Would you say you're more up for a game like this than you might be against somebody you don't have a history with, coach?
I don't know. I mean, I like coaching against hits. I like coaching against torts. I like coaching against Q. I like coaching against the guys I know real good, but I like winning. So it doesn't matter to me. I'll take a win any night.
And your players, would they be more up for a game against a championship caliber team like the one you're facing tonight?
Well, I think when you're a team like us, you probably live scared most every night. How's that? But I think when you're a really good team, you often lose to the not good teams, but you beat the really good teams.
Mike, how much hockey do you think you watch in a given weekday?
Well, if my bride's out of town, lots. If she's in town, we slide in the odd dinner. How's that? No, I like watching hockey. I like watching good stuff, but it's not even at night. It's the next day. I like watching hockey.
And you're always watching it. Do you ever relax and watch it just as a fan, or are you always
Oh
kind
no,
of
I watch lots as a fan. You know, but I watch soccer. I watch basketball. I'm trying to figure out how to pick and roll, how we can get inside, how to spin. It doesn't matter. I like watching sport. I watch it a lot with the volume down, but I like watching sport.